to face each other. So is that where we're at right now with Canelo?
No. Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
Yeah, he needs the money.
So how can you convince fans that he can beat Canelo?
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that.
Gervonta Davis made a bold statement, claiming that Canelo Alvarez will humiliate Terence Crawford when the two finally step into the ring. Davis argued that Crawford isn't untouchable, pointing out how even Yuriorkis Gamboa was able to hurt him years ago. To Davis, that moment proves Crawford is vulnerable, and against a bigger, stronger, and more dangerous opponent like Canelo, those weaknesses will inevitably resurface. He believes Alvarez's power and natural size will be simply too much for Crawford to overcome.
Convince fans that he can beat Canelo.
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter. But, bro, I would say smaller fighters are always better than bigger fighters because they're smaller, they know how to move and stuff like that. But this guy is great at what he do. And another thing, bro.
Terence Crawford, however, thrives on silencing critics. Having already become undisputed champion in both the lightweight and welterweight divisions, he has now chosen one of the toughest challenges of his career, moving up to super middleweight to face Canelo Alvarez. While many raise concerns about the size and power difference, Crawford remains unshaken. In a fiery declaration, he promised that doubters will leave fight night in tears, a reflection of both his confidence and mental toughness as he embraces one of boxing's most daring risks.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that. You know, everybody's talking about the size and, you know, me being a smaller fighter. But if you look on the stage, I've been sparring these big dudes my whole career. Like, how I'm gonna take a punch? They punch me every time we spar. So, you know, it's okay. You know, once we get in the ring and they see something different, like each and every time, there's gonna be another excuse why, the reason why Terence won and this and that and this. But I can assure you, I'm gonna be victorious. And after that, we're gonna have another parade.
Gervonta Davis has been consistent in backing Canelo Alvarez over Crawford. Known himself for knockout power, Davis insists Alvarez's size, strength, and championship experience give him the edge. He stressed that Crawford has never fought at such a high weight, while Canelo has proven himself time and again across multiple divisions. For Davis, this track record makes Alvarez the safer bet, even when matched against someone as technically brilliant as Crawford.
Gap between Canelo and Terence Crawford, Tank is gonna pick Canelo to knock Crawford out. We all know Tank had his little run-ins with Bud and things of that nature, to where Bud said he will fight Tank at 147, which is crazy to me, right? Tank ain't going to no damn 147. But nonetheless, Gervonta Tank Davis go ride with Canelo, and, you know, he a smart man. No, he a smart man, because I think everybody and their mama see that, you know, Canelo Alvarez is too big for Terence Crawford, just like Terence Crawford knew it. But Gervonta Tank Davis always picked Canelo over everybody. Doesn't matter who it is.
When resumes are compared, few can match the legacy of Canelo Alvarez. From facing Floyd Mayweather early in his career to testing himself repeatedly against bigger men, Alvarez has consistently taken risks at the highest level. Supporters argue that Crawford, despite his undeniable pound-for-pound greatness, has yet to battle opponents of that size and caliber. Canelo's long history of overcoming size disadvantages fuels his confidence going into another career-defining super fight.
I don't see Crawford knocking Canelo out. If Canelo lets Crawford get away with boxing, he may have a shot. If Canelo comes in there and boxes and cut the ring, Canelo has a chance of knocking Crawford out.
What?
Yeah.
You said Canelo got a shot at knocking Crawford out?
I think he does.
Wow.
Remember, Crawford coming up for 135. And I don't know if y'all remember when he fought Gamboa. Gamboa rocked him a little bit too. And we talked about Canelo Alvarez.
That was a long time ago. If we gonna do that, Canelo got rocked by Jose Miguel Cotto.
I didn't know that. But on the real, Canelo has faced a bigger opposition. He's faced a bigger and a harder punchers. Who has Crawford faced that's a big puncher? Canelo's taking more hard punches than Crawford. The tail of the tape is going to be if Crawford can take the power from Canelo, and can Canelo box with Crawford and potentially hurt him.
Analysts caution against using past comparisons to judge this fight. Canelo Alvarez is not Errol Spence Jr., and Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. Each fighter brings a unique style, Alvarez with his explosive power, slick upper body movement, and iron chin, Crawford with his adaptability and dangerous switch-hitting abilities. Experts agree that this matchup cannot be defined by old blueprints. It's a fresh clash of styles between two extraordinary fighters with very different strengths.
Heart of a lion, that's a fact. Great boxer, great skills, high IQ, future Hall of Famer, that is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. You know what else is a fact, ladies and gentlemen? Terence Crawford cannot afford to get hit with these same shots by Saul Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is not the mean machine. Canelo Alvarez is not Sean Porter. Canelo Alvarez is not Gamboa, and he's for damn sure not Errol Spence Jr. Just like Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather or Lara. We trying to say that Bud's gonna do the same thing that Mayweather was able to do. Two different styles, two different type of fighters. Mayweather is a pure boxer. Terence Crawford is not a pure boxer. That does not mean that he can't box. Before y'all try to kill me in the comment section. Yes, he has the ability to box, but Terence Crawford is a boxer puncher, ladies and gentlemen. He gives angles, but he doesn't move like a Floyd Mayweather or a Lara. He's not on his toes like that. And he also likes to exchange when he gets hurt, and that can be to his detriment. And if he exchanged with Canelo a little too long, it might be NyQuil time. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section.
On paper, Canelo Alvarez holds the advantages in size and experience. Competing at 168 pounds is routine for him, whereas Crawford is entering uncharted territory. Still, Crawford's technical brilliance makes this a fascinating contest. His timing, counterpunching, and ability to seamlessly switch stances make him one of boxing's most difficult puzzles to solve. Ultimately, this fight becomes a battle between Canelo's size and experience versus Crawford's skill and adaptability.
Boxing odd makers have Canelo versus Crawford Gillette close. Now obviously Canelo has the size advantage. He's 3 weight divisions heavier than Crawford. And most people believe that Crawford carries the skill advantage, being an overall more skilled fighter. Neither guy is known for tremendous defense, but it's still solid. And of course, they're both chiseled into the Mount Rushmore of pugilism for their ironclad wills. The one area that people say Canelo might have the advantage is in experience fighting heavier dudes. Now, obviously, all fighters spar out of their weight classes. But when it comes to actually fighting in the pro ranks with those 10-ounce gloves, Canelo's the only one between the two of them that has a multitude of experience fighting super middleweights and light heavyweights in the pro ranks. So does this slight advantage give Canelo the nod and make him a bit of a favorite? Or is Crawford going to prove that size doesn't matter and it's skills that pay the bills? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments.
Veteran trainer Abel Sanchez expressed skepticism about Crawford's move up in weight. He warned that Crawford has never fought at such a natural size and could be at a serious disadvantage. Sanchez emphasized how risky it is to leap divisions too quickly, saying even Dimitri Bivol, naturally bigger than Canelo, had to fight at his absolute best to defeat Alvarez. His warning was clear: if a naturally larger, elite fighter had to dig that deep, then Crawford's challenge against Canelo was even more dangerous and uphill.
He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just think that moving up in weight without having fights to merit that, I think it's the wrong move. But he couldn't handle a 154-pounder the way that he was handling everybody else before. And Madrimov is not Canelo. Canelo's been used to fighting all the bigger guys and has done very well with the bigger guys. Nobody's hurt him. Nobody's heard of him. He's fought the biggest punch. He fought Gennady. Come on, he fought Gennady twice, really the good fights, and then Bivol couldn't. Bivol hit him with everything and couldn't hurt him. So how's Terence gonna do that? I don't think he can. I see Canelo going away maybe in a 16-12, 17-13 kind of fight. The first 3 or 4 rounds will be difficult for Canelo, or a little harder for Canelo because of the speed. But once he assimilates, just like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, you know, the first 3 or 4 rounds where Kell was fast. But Terence is going to expose himself when he throws his punches, and Canelo's going to finally get this timing down, and I think we'll be able to control the fight.
Do you see a version of Canelo now that is slowing down? Obviously, a lot of people might point towards the William School fight, but again, despite how that one played out, people talk about his lack of motivation maybe for a fight like that. But do you see this version of Canelo declining?
No, I think the lack of motivation because of the opponent could have been the reason for that fight. I think these guys at that level, once they get a name, they're looking at a name. It's a different story. They're not only their motivation, but they're waking up earlier in the morning to go run. All those things come into play because they know they have a challenge ahead of them.
One thing with the weight, and again, Buddy spoke to me about this, is he said that if he was Terence, he'd come in just over the 160 limit, so he's just inside the 168 limit to try and keep a bit more of that speed instead of just like bulking up. Do you agree with that sentiment, or if you was Terence, would you just bulk up?
Well, let me say this. Like everybody else, I read or I watch some of the writings on the internet, and to see that Terence is weighing 186, 190 pounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia also voiced concerns, particularly about Crawford's physical adjustments. Garcia explained that adding too much weight too quickly could reduce Crawford's speed and reflexes, the very qualities that make him so special. He dismissed comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, reminding fans that Mayweather always fought within his limits and never overextended his body. Garcia believes that if the added weight slows Crawford or impacts his stamina, his brilliance may not fully translate at super middleweight.
Crawford, I think, gaining too much weight and too much muscle might affect them. If they're thinking of surviving and being able to take a punch and being able to go rounds, then they're trying to maybe go the distance and they'll be happy with that. But I think Crawford's natural talent, Mayweather had it. You know, you guys were just mentioning it right now that Crawford, Mayweather never needed to gain weight and never needed to be heavy to be able to beat those bigger guys. I think Crawford's skills, we give Crawford a chance because we know how good he is, how, you know, his skills, his speed, his combinations. But if he's gaining so much weight, he might not be able to do those. He might not be able to have those same skills when it comes to his speed, his footwork, because of the weight. So we'll see. You know, I just hope he's not just training and getting big to survive and go the distance, because maybe that's a win for him. Maybe he's thinking, if I go the distance with him, that's a big win for me. So, you know, I just hope not. I expect Crawford to actually pull up some runs and maybe even pull up the fight. But if he's too heavy, too big, he's gonna get hit, and he's gonna have to exchange punches, and that's where the danger comes.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist and multi-division champion Claressa Shields offered a contrasting view. While acknowledging that legend Shane Mosley believes Canelo will dominate, Shields respectfully disagreed. She leaned toward Crawford, citing his unmatched adaptability and skills as factors that could neutralize the size gap. Given her own status as one of boxing's greatest champions, her support for Crawford adds significant weight to the argument in his favor.
Sure. He just said that Terence Crawford was going to get watched by Canelo. I don't think his word is really worth that much.
Do you think she need a year?
No, she needs till January, February. That's the timeline. She needs 6 to 8 months. She said out her own mouth that she's in shape. She can come back. She told me that I'm too small for her. I'm not skilled enough for her. She punches too hard. And if she comes to get me, I won't be able to keep her off me. So stand on that. Take this $15 million and come.
Trainer Rob Aosta came to Crawford's defense amid speculation about his physical transformation. Some critics suggested his weight gain might not be natural, but Aosta dismissed those rumors firmly. He explained that Crawford's physique was the result of strict discipline, carefully managed nutrition, and relentless training. According to Aosta, Crawford's greatness has always been built on hard work and preparation, not shortcuts. He insisted the public focus on the fight itself, not unfounded accusations, and highlighted Crawford's hunger to chase greatness at all costs.
PDs. You've been hearing a lot about Terence Crawford and Victor Conte as of late. And,
I've seen that. Yeah,
and
little
people are making accusations. People are insinuating that Crawford is indeed doping, and based off of his recent size, and they're not used to Terence Crawford looking this big. And give me some insight into that. Give me some insight into fighters walk around with PEDs and criticism of the guy that hasn't tested positive versus the guy in the same fight that's tested positive and team that's tested positive.
First, I don't think Crawford's taking anything. I don't think he is. I think just the size difference in what he walks around to what he's been looking lately, that is that's just something that possibly, that's how he walks around. Now, Crawford's physique, he's the type of guy that if he becomes heavy, it shows in his face, it shows in the obliques, but he still got abs, he still got definition in his chest. You know what I mean? So he could just possibly just look like that. Now, mind you, there's still a decent amount of time. We're still talking about 4 weeks. So I'm curious to see how either wherever he is, the cut goes, or however low he goes, how it gets constructed on the way up.
Some analysts argue the outcome will depend less on Crawford's adjustments and more on what version of Canelo Alvarez shows up.
In recent years, Canelo hasn't always displayed the same explosiveness as in his prime.
If he brings back his relentless pressure, sharp combinations, and high work rate, he will be difficult to beat. However, if he underestimates Crawford or fights too cautiously, he risks being outboxed. For Alvarez, this fight is just as much about reclaiming his old dominance as it is about protecting his legacy.
Regards to Canelo's meaty workout, so what do we see there? We see a little bit of what he wants to do to take advantage of a right-hand southpaw matchup. Get his lead foot on the outside, bang the right hand down the pipe, set it up with the jab, and maybe even fire that jab at the lead hand of Crawford to just get it touch, step outside right hand down the middle. We saw Canelo doing a lot of cross-stepping, which is, I think, a bad idea versus someone who has good angle manipulation like Crawford does. Right? Every wasted movement is going to be a capitalization for Crawford to try to fire back on. And Canelo is going to be there to be hit with some counter punches. Make no mistake about it, Canelo will stand in the pocket. Yes, he'll try to make Crawford miss, but sometimes he'll even eat a couple so that he can be there behind that high guard, taking punches to look for one of the big ones on his own counter shot. So that can be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. That can be a little bit of the chess game going on, is who's going to land the bigger counter punch and how many of those can Crawford take moving up to 168 versus Canelo, who has been there and is fighting a guy that has fought at a lot smaller weight, that hasn't seen the power, like we talked about, the narratives being built, that Canelo brings at 168. Even now, all those things will come into play. I think a big important part of this fight is just how much Canelo utilizes his lead hand, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the most important thing in this fight. I really think if Canelo is back on his jab and is able to mask some of the stuff that he loves to do, which is that lead hook to the body, smashing hook on the arms, on the body, on the shoulders. He's able to hide it just a little bit and then hit you with that timing, that Canelo Alvarez timing that's been perfect, that put down Amir Khan, that put down Billy Joe Saunders, that found the button on
Boxing commentator and rapper Okino boiled the matchup down to one crucial factor: whether Crawford can take Canelo's power. Crawford has shown toughness at lighter weights, but Canelo's punches at 168 pounds are an entirely different challenge. If Crawford can absorb them, the fight may become a chess match of skills. If not, Alvarez's raw strength could decide it early. This single question, Okino said, is what makes the fight so dramatic.
Let me ask you a question. You're a boxing fan, right?
Yeah, bad.
Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Like right now, according to betonline.ag, Canelo's favored -180, Crawford's 139. That means that if you bet on Canelo, you'd have to bet $180 to make $100.
That's not that bad.
It's almost 2-to-1 odds.
Yeah, but
almost.
Canelo stuff used to be way crazier than that.
Terence Crawford's no joke, though.
I mean, I would bet Terence Crawford in the fight.
So you would bet on Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
He never lost. Mayweather beat Canelo real easy. And I don't think Terence Crawford...
Mayweather beat Canelo way early on. Way early on.
But
plus it's Mayweather.
Listen, law is Mayweather, his cheat code. But I think if anybody can beat Canelo, it's Terence Crawford. I mean, I'm not betting against somebody that never lost. You know what I mean? Now, if Terence Crawford take his punches, that's what we got to see.
Yeah, September 13th in Las Vegas.
That's going to be the biggest fight ever, bro.
It'll be on Netflix.
I think it's going to be the biggest fight ever.
Yeah, Canelo's getting $150 million. Crawford's getting $50 million. Huge paydays for everyone involved.
I think we'll get probably back-end money, too.
Yeah.
Well, how does that work? Because it's not pay-per-view. Do they still...
Netflix putting up the money.
So I'm saying, so they don't get no back-end then?
No, there is no back-end. There's ticket sales.
Yeah, because pay-per-view, the back-end is the most.
There's no pay-per-view.
I guess if you give me $50 million up front, I don't really care about the back-end. You give me
but Netflix doesn't do back-ends, period. Like, even
so
on
he
movie
getting 3 times more than Terence Crawford? God damn. That's crazy, bro. I would at least think it'd be 2 times.
Would you turn down $50 million?
Not even 5.
So
I know
today you could be pocket watching the other boxer, but at the end of the day, you're still getting $50 million.
Yeah, $50 million.
Biggest payday he's ever gotten in his life, even after taxes and whatever.
Like, I just think he was enough of a draw. They can get at least half of what he was getting. Well, of course, $50 million.
Canelo has the whole like Latin community, and you gotta think that's a huge.
Well, yeah, but Terence Crawford's last fight's been sold out just like Canelo.
No, I mean they all sell out. Terence is a beast. I just feel like Canelo's kind of a bigger figure.
He a bigger figure, but I think he was that 3 times bigger. This fight's gonna be insane.
Hey man, it's all about negotiation.
You know what it was? Because you know why probably he getting so much less because Canelo ain't had to take it. Canelo's scared of Benavidez though, period. And I don't think he can beat Benavidez at all. I would bet on Benavidez.
Yeah.
For sure.
That concludes today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates on the fight. Until next time.